security team gets asked the same question, usually at the worst possible moment. Are we secure right now? It sounds simple. It isn't, because secure depends on three different things that most dashboards lump into one number: what you're exposed to, what's actively threatening you, and how well your team is responding to it. In the previous video, we looked at our CyberStory dashboard at a high level. This video goes one layer deeper into the score sitting at the top of it. The security status you see here is built from three separate measurements: DRARC, Scout, and DRARC. Each one answers a different question about your environment. And together, they give you a complete picture of where you stand right now. Let's walk through each one. Firstly, DRARC. What are you exposed to? DRARC measures your exposure, not what attacks have happened, but what could happen based on the weaknesses and gaps that exist in your environment today. Here, you can see that every issue we detect gets scored across 5 dimensions. Think of them as 5 questions we ask about each problem. Firstly, how bad would the damage be if this were exploited? Secondly, how reliably could an attacker reproduce it? How easy is it to exploit in the first place? How many assets could be pulled into the blast radius? And how easy is it for someone to even discover that this weakness exists? Each dimension gets a score from 1 to 10. We average them together and that becomes the DRARC score for the issue. Then we do that for every issue in the domain and roll them up into a single domain level DRARC score, weighted by how significant each issue is. One important thing to know is that a high raw DRARC number means worse posture. So when we feed it into the overall security status, we flip it. A higher DRARC score on the dashboard means your exposure is lower. Better is better, the way you'd expect it to read. Next, we have Scout. What's happening right now? Scout measures active threat pressure, not historical risk, but rather what's actually going on in your environment at this moment. Where DRARC looks at weaknesses that could be exploited, Scout looks at activity that is happening. Detections, anomalies, patterns that match known attack behavior. We group related threats together into clusters and score each cluster across 5 dimensions. Firstly, how serious are the active detections? Secondly, how confident are we that these are real threats and not noise? How broadly are they spreading across your assets? How fast is activity accelerating compared to your normal baseline? And how closely does this match known threat intelligence? The uptick dimension is worth pausing on. It's not just are there threats, it's are threats increasing faster than usual. A slow, steady baseline looks very different from a sudden spike, and Scout captures that difference. Last but not least, we have DRARC. How well are you responding? DRARC and Scout are about your environment. DRARC is about your team. It measures how effectively your organization detects, responds to, contains, and recovers from threats. And unlike the first 2 scores, which are based on qualitative assessments of issues and threats, DRARC is built almost entirely from hard operational metrics, numbers your tools already produce. 5 dimensions go into it. Detection speed, how quickly you spot a threat after it appears. Response speed, how quickly your team acts once a threat is detected. Containment effectiveness, what percentage of incidents are contained within your target timeframe. Recovery efficiency, how fast you return to normal after an incident. And automation coverage, how much of your response workflow is automated rather than manual. Detection and response carry the most weight each, 25%. Containment and recovery are next. Automation is weight lower at 10%, not because it doesn't matter, but because it tends to move slowly and its value shows up through the other 4 dimensions anyway. DRARC is the one score that does not need to be flipped. Higher always means better. Your team is handling things well. The final security status score combines all 3. DRARC accounts for 40% of the score, Scout accounts for 40%, and DRARC accounts for 20%. The weighting reflects a deliberate point of view. What you're exposed to and what's actively threatening you matter more than how fast you're responding, because the best response is having less to respond to. When you look at this number, you're not seeing a guess or a survey result. You're seeing a weighted calculation across every domain, built from the actual data your environment is producing every day. If DRARC is high, your exposures are low. If Scout is high, your environment is quiet. If DRARC is high, your team is performing well. And the closer that overall score is to 100, the more confident you can be in your current security state.